That's why starting was the worst decision I made in my life. I did not realize that I was literally selling parts of my soul and the money could have never made it worth it. I just wish that someone would have warned me and told me that I was going to be later experiencing PTSD from the trauma and the experiences that I was subjecting myself to on a daily basis. I did not know that I would later need to be in trauma counseling. It brought me into way darker places than I ever could have imagined, and I never want to go back there. I wish I could go back in time to who I was before I started doing all that stuff and just tell myself that the money is not worth it. Keep your happiness.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video for you here today from Alpha Central titled "Why OF Models, quote unquote, are quitting and going back to 9 to 5 in 2025. This should be absolutely hilarious. Now, today's video was suggested to me by Hadan the Mummy. I'm going to leave a link to both of their channels down in the pinned comments, so make sure you go and subscribe to these guys. Don't forget to leave your own comments, and let's jump right into the video.
I wasn't happy doing it. Like, it almost felt like I wanted to like go towards something I desired more. It made my name look bad. Like, being on, it was more like, oh, she's an old girl, and that's just not someone who I wanted to be known as, because there's a lot more of me than just that.
Why did you do it then if you felt like it was not what you wanted to be known as?
What she said doesn't make any sense. She joined OF to make money, and the only way to make money on that platform is to become popular and famous. What exactly did she think was going to happen?
Oh, you
Yeah,
off it
I
now?
stopped. It's probably like the beginning of this year.
Why?
I
If it was
just-
lucrative, you should have kept running
It
it up.
definitely was lucrative, but I felt like I just didn't like going into these bigger meetings, and like once they hear the words, they kind of just turn the cheek, or like they have a certain perspective about you. So it was like it benefited me very well, but at the same time, I just am in a different phase in my life. I'm getting older. I have nephews and nieces. I really give a about how they feel about me and what they see about me. And it just kind of like, just, you know, organically, this was like, this doesn't feel right.
She should have thought about that before getting into that line of work. Her brothers and sisters probably won't let their children near her, just to protect their reputations and also to protect their children from ridicule.
3 things that I wish I would have known as a young. Number 1, my self-worth. 2, money isn't everything. Number 3, the damage that did to my mental health.
It's funny to me how all of these women who try to quit the industry end up learning about hindsight, but they only learn about it after it's far too late and the damage has already been done.
I just want you guys to know, like, this streaming has helped me more than you guys can ever know. I've accomplished things and I've done things on my own that people said I could never do. And I'm doing them every single day. And I'm making my parents proud. I'm making myself proud. I'm making the people around me proud, the people who've rooted for me since day one. I'm making them so proud. And I'm just so proud of myself for giving up the life of sin and being able to just really change as a person.
It's rather hard to believe that her parents are proud of the fact that she sold her body online for money. What she did isn't something to be proud of. It's degrading and brings a lot of shame to the family name.
Okay, part 2, why I'm not a full-time dancer anymore and my money habits as a dancer. We left off in March, which was the last consistent and good month that I've had to date. My first year as a dancer, transparency, I made $130,000, but as y'all saw in part 1, I made $100K of that in the first 3 months. Then literally the rest of the year, I scraped another $30K. I eventually got really tired of like relying on my savings and wasting my time going to the club, because that's what it felt like and that's what it feels like now.
That particular industry thrives on young women who think that they're going to be getting an easy payday, but it's a huge gamble, and regardless of how it pays off, they will still be known as the person who used to do spicy things for a living.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love hanging out with my homegirls, and like the environment, at least at my club, is pretty chill. But I don't want to be spending money to be hanging out with my homegirls. I could hang out with them for free. So I eventually got a job, and that's why I've been away for 2 years.
It's impressive how she was able to get a job after what she did. Most employers won't touch women like that with a 10-foot pole, and that's just to protect their own businesses.
The main reason I shut down my OF was because a friend at work found my OF somehow, and I guess I told him my stage name and wasn't thinking, and he subscribed, and I had videos on there from like way back in the day, like so many different hairstyles, so many different weights, so many different pregnancies, and being fat, and just doing things like crazy, like, and things I didn't want someone that I worked with, especially a friend, to see.
If she didn't want people to see it, then why did she tell this guy in the first place? How does something like that even come up in a workplace conversation? These women don't think before they do anything, I swear.
And then a second person that I worked with in my department mentioned my OF and subscribing to it, and it freaked me out. And the thought of the people that I work with every day seeing me like that, seeing me fat and naked and doing all these and just in that light, yeah, it freaked me out, and I shut it down at work like that. In that moment, I stepped away and I deleted my OF right then and there.
By the time she deleted her account, it was too late. The second that she told that guy about her page, it was over right then and there.
It's very rare that becomes an entrepreneur successfully and then becomes a women's pastor. But that has been my story. I was a high-end escort for 5 years of my life, and through an experience that I had with Christ Jesus, my life completely changed. And yes, it took a ton of work and still takes work. It's taken therapy and very hard conversations, but the foundation of my ability to do the work that I needed to do to radically transform my life was built upon the foundation of the understanding that because of Christ and because of what he has done for me, that my life didn't have to stay in the very dark place that it was in.
We have been seeing this major trend of women finding religion after making terrible life choices. It's hard to know which ones are genuine and the others who are just trying to use it to quote unquote erase their pasts. But honestly, I think that the former is significantly more common.
I've lost my whole family and it sucks. So a lot of times when people ask me if they should do porn, I tell them no. I tell them that it makes life really hard. It makes dating really hard. It makes your family life really hard. It makes intimacy hard. You're putting yourself out there and the world is now judging you. You have to be okay with being shamed every day of your life.
These women have no idea of the major consequences of what they've done to their lives. Once they do something so shameful, word gets out and they will never be able to do anything to change that.
I don't even want to have children because I'm worried of the way that people will treat my child. Recently, I wanted to go visit him and he said that I can't go visit because his wife, my stepmom, doesn't want me there. I'm not allowed to go visit my dad anymore because my stepmom doesn't like that I do. But then he told me that when I was like, can we like go get coffee and like we could go like get breakfast? And he's like, I don't want to be seen in public with you. And that just hurt so bad. And it sucks. I lost my family. I don't talk to like my brothers or sisters.
What's really insane is how this woman, who didn't want children because she was terrified as to how that child would be treated, mind you, actually had a child. She knew that child wouldn't have a normal life and she chose to do it anyway.
Do you think there is some sort of post-traumatic stress that is in you from this experience?
Yes, and I think it kicks in mostly when I go out in public, because the stares I get, I feel like people can see through my clothes, and it brings me deep shame. It makes me feel like I lost all right to my privacy, which I did because I'm one Google search away.
Yeah.
She didn't lose her right to privacy. She made the choice herself when she got into this industry, but she's trying to make it sound like despite her choices, she is somehow the victim in this situation.
And those images, you cannot expunge. You have no right, even though it is deeply personal to you, you have no right to remove them from anybody's view around the world.
Yeah.
Any OF creator who thinks that they can just delete their accounts and assume the world will forget doesn't realize that those images will be on the internet forever and there isn't a thing that they can do about it. It's not a smart idea to try and start a marketing business when your former profession was OF. A lot of people don't want to do business with a guy who is in that particular line of work. It does more harm than good.
I want to clarify, I was addicted to anything and everything, but I also was a dancer. And I know a lot of girls that are addicted to dancing and still to this day are dancing, and they were dancing 4 years before me, and they've still been dancing after I quit, and I danced for about 4 years. I think it's a very addictive lifestyle because you get used to instant gratification, a lot of attention, instant money. I think the club definitely enabled my use though because it was really normalized.
These women are lured in at the prospect of making a bunch of quick money, but never realize there is a dark side to that industry, which is weird because that dark side has been made public for decades.
The only reason why I got sober and quit dancing is because I met my husband, and me and my husband wanted to start a family. So I decided to get sober so that I could get pregnant. I got pregnant right away, so I stayed sober. And we talked about me going back to dancing if I wanted to after we had our son. But then once we had our son, I just never wanted to leave my kid. That's just how it worked out. I just stopped because I just had a kid and I didn't want to leave my kid.
She didn't quit dancing until after she met her husband, and she considered going back to it after having a child, which just goes to show that her addiction never went away even after she had a kid, which is incredibly sad.
When you say, like, you were in the traditional corn industry, just
Yeah.
OF, how long have you been doing it for?
About 3 years.
3 years, okay. And when you say you're trying to get out of it, what do you mean?
Yeah, I started it on a whim, got really famous really quickly, so didn't have any time to really think about it. Blew up really quickly.
She didn't have time to think about it because she didn't want to take the time to think about it. If she had, she would have realized that the risks far outweigh the rewards in that particular industry.
And yeah, as time went on, I got a little bit older, realized, you know, it's not really where a lot of people should be. I think it's just a very dark industry, and there's a lot that isn't, I think, portrayed in the media.
Yeah.
A lot of girls are like, whoa, I'm a boss bitch, and it's this.
That woman got her money and then realized how bad the industry was, and anybody with half a brain could have told her that signing up for that life would have been a terrible idea.
You are not going to make $4 million a month doing OF. Don't even think about it. I need you to understand that this Sophie Rain chick is an anomaly. It's not to say that there aren't high earners on the platform, but I promise you, you're not going to be one of them. The industry is oversaturated. If you aren't already in it, I genuinely would not recommend joining. You're not going to make $4 million in a month. You know what's going to happen? Everyone that you don't want to sub, they're going to be the first ones to sub. Your old high school teachers, your family, your old coworkers, your friends, your exes. Like, I swear to God, they're going to be the first ones to do it.
The vast majority of these creators make less than $150 a month, but the shame that comes with signing up remains the same. They gave up their privacy and dignity, mind you, for far less than minimum wage.
I know what you're thinking. Well, for $4 million a month, like, I could look past that. You are not going to be making that. The average creator on the platform earns like less than $500 a month. I think the actual statistic is like less than $200 a month. Don't quote me on that, but just trust me, unless you already have some sort of large platform built up, it is not worth it.
These warnings always come too little too late. Those women who sign up think that they're going to be the exception to the rule. They love to play when the odds are against them in the biggest way.
Would I recommend anyone becoming an escort? Kind of a loaded question. Would I recommend that people consciously make the decision to view their body as a commodity and sell it for the sexual gratification of others, while spending copious amounts of time marketing themselves on red websites, or getting in touch and linking up with someone who gladly distributes women? And then there's the actual act of doing it, so entering into a one-to-one scenario with somebody or going to some kind of like events.
Getting into that kind of work isn't just dressing up and going to have fun. It's degrading work that will forever damage that woman for the rest of her life. They only realize this after it's far too late for them.
And actually letting people use your sacred body for their own gratification. So to recommend this lifestyle would make me a dangerous person. And obviously, no, I would not recommend that. We're then obviously not considering the 10, 20 years that follow that decision where you have to actually deal with the aftermath. No, I wouldn't recommend.
There are countless dangers to becoming a worker in that particular industry. There are massive health and safety issues that get thrown to the wayside because of the prospect of easy money, and that is just way too attractive to them, apparently.
I just saw this video of this woman just leaving the club where she worked, and she looked exhausted. She looked so done, and she goes, "I need you guys to stop glamorizing being a because it's right now." And to be honest with you, I was one of those girls that glamorized being but I was dying. I was so traumatized. It was one of the worst experiences of my entire adult life.
She glamorized being a dancer, even though she was exhausted and apparently traumatized. She knew it was wrong, but she did it anyway. This is the kind of behavior that just keeps the industry going and manipulates women into signing up in the first place.
Like, I never felt so dehumanized. I felt worse than I did when I was a sugar baby, worse than I did when I was a professional. I had never been treated like that in any of those things except for when I was dancing at a club. It was horrible. I met some girls there that has worked in that same club for 10 years. I only lasted 3 months. I just stopped showing up and I never went back.
Of course, the work is dehumanizing. That's literally the job description. It's a job where a woman does these sorts of things for the audience for physical gratification. Once you do that, you're no longer seen as a person. I mean, I thought this was just common sense.
I did OF and I regret it badly. I'm really outing myself here, but maybe this video will help some people. I did OF for about 3 months. You will do some cringy. So I signed with an agency towards the end and they kind of took all rights of my OF and they were making me do some cringy TikToks that just did not sit right with me.
These agencies don't care about their privacy or dignity. They're just one step above the men who sell these women on the streets, and they're shocked when they realize how degrading the work becomes.
So I think like after doing that was when I was like, this is actually not who I am and not who I want to be on the internet at all. I wish I had thought about it much harder than I did because I regret it. And I wish I didn't do that. It was a weird part of my life.
A lot of these women keep saying doing OF wasn't who they wanted to be, even though they made the choice to become that type of person. These women are far too impulsive for their own good.
My mental health since I've started this has just slowly been on such a decline. I feel a little bit dead inside. I feel completely desensitized. Not to sound funny, but I really don't feel any type of desire or attraction to men in general anymore. Just know that if you are a person who's ever been interested in doing this, there really are so many downsides. At this point, and I'm willing to admit this now, there's no amount of money that you can give me right now to make me feel like giving myself away in certain aspects, even if they're just a few photos or whatever online. It almost isn't worth it anymore.
It's almost how, despite all of the quote-unquote trauma, becoming desensitized and not being able to bond with men, she still says it's almost not worth doing it anymore. Apparently the amount of money she makes is still worth the trade.
And while I did have such a strong start and it was so much fun in the beginning, after getting burnt out, I started to just feel really differently about the types of messages that I was getting. Seriously, if I had any type of ability to share the things that people have said, just how disgusting they are. And also when I get curious and nosy sometimes, I'll go look at their profile and they have a whole girlfriend or a whole wife, and sometimes even disgustingly enough they have kids. It makes me feel so conflicted with doing this.
It's rather difficult to take the moral high ground by saying that her subscribers had wives and children when she's the one providing the products for them to buy.
So I have really gotten to the point where there are days to weeks at a time where I don't leave my house because I don't feel like facing the world of what has been created out there for me. I get so disappointed when I go out and I meet a new friend and then it turns out they don't want to be my friend anymore. Or I go out and, I don't know, I just hear things or witness things.
That world wasn't created for her. She created that world by joining into the industry, and the harsh reality is that people will judge these women for what they do. It has been that way for literally thousands of years.
It's really easier for me just to stay inside my house and not put myself out there for hurt. I wish that people would treat me how they would treat a married, registered nurse with 2.5 kids in Indiana. That's how I wish people would treat me.
She could have had that life if she just made the right decision, but she chose poorly, and now she wants the world to see her as something else. But it's rather difficult to do that when her shame will be on the internet for literally ever.
I send a very strong message to young girls. Don't do because as much I understand it, you want to embrace your sexuality, you want to say screw the man, screw whatever, like I can do what I want with my body, but you're just gonna have a life of crap in front of you, and you know they have morality clauses. You can never work with children after you do. You can never work in a medical field after you do.
The reasons she listed have to do with feminist empowerment and fighting the patriarchy. The irony is that they're joining an industry that is reliant on the money provided by men in order to fund their lifestyles.
January 1st, 2023, and 2022, I quit dancing at the club, and I just wanted to talk about why, because it really was not a conscious decision that I was just like, okay, this is my last time at the club. I did not plan it out. My body basically was just like, no, like we're not doing this anymore. I would get home and I would have the shakes so bad.
The tolls that the industry takes on the body is massive, and it can cause some permanent injuries, but most of the time these warning signs are just ignored because the money is too good.
And then even then I wasn't so sensitive to my body that even that bothered me. So I'd be like, oh, whatever, maybe I'm just anxious and I was supposed to go to bed. I would wake up and throw up nothing every single day after I worked at the club. So I started to get really, really sick, which caused me then to only go to work maybe like 2 or 3 days a month. And then I'm like, damn, I can't even go in that much. I'm not making that much money while I am there. My boundaries started to be more strong with the men, where it's just like, no, you can't touch me. No, you can't do that. No, you can't talk to me like that. And of course, you make less money when you have more boundaries. So I ended up going back, getting really sick to the point where I came back to Miami and I was sick mentally for like 3 weeks after that experience. So I cut it.
But anyway, guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Drop a comment and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you take care of yourselves, guys. Peace.